we shall draw group discussions about the same, because we don't want to hurry. We really want to see that we exhaust that transitional media, that transitional justice. How can it be meaningful to us? How do we carry it out from here? Because our presence here, that's why we want a lot of younger men here and women, because you can influence other youths outside there towards peace, because our presence here is peace, nothing else. As you can read here, you read everywhere, you will see that our concern is about peace. So from there, group discussions.
There is a coalition, their book is here. They gave us a notebook. It's called the National Coalition for Human Rights Defenders. As long as you're doing human rights work in Uganda, it's important to be a member of this coalition because they support in terms of protection. For example, if your offices are broken into, if you feel that you're doing advocacy work and your life is at threat, they are the people who always give that protection. They support you. If you feel you need to move to another country or if you need a shelter, they always provide that for the human rights defenders. So they have about 200 organizations that are members. You have to pay a subscription fee of 100,000 every year. It's annual. So they do a lot of capacity building on human rights. Again, they provide protection to the human rights defenders whose lives are threatened, as well as networking, and then protection and emergency response in case you have certain issues. So it's a very good coalition. If you want to join them, please, it's very good. I would really encourage you. For us, we work with them as partners. We are not members, but we are partners with them. So we do a lot of work in terms of human rights, especially at the African Union and global level, in terms of reporting on the violations, on the areas of human rights. So it's just across. They're not very far from this place. Their offices are just not very far from this place. So it's important to be a member of this coalition. They, like I said, they do a lot of capacity building in all areas of human rights work. So it's important to be part of this, and they interact a lot with the different ministries at that higher level. They sit in the interministerial committee of the different ministries, agencies, and departments in Uganda. So they're a very good partner to work with, but also to be a member organization with. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, I want to express our happiness as a team that we started coming here last year, 2024. And in fact, it's barely 1 year. It's like 1 year. And when I look at how much knowledge has been shared in this network, it's like we've been here like 5 years. And again, I sat here even in the last session when we came and observing the different presentations. I questioned myself, as Apollo you were saying, we come. We don't come because we doubt you, but we come because we also want to learn. Okay? It's a mutual sharing of knowledge where there is no power over the other one, but we're looking here at partners that work together for a common goal. So when I'm listening to you present, I've listened to Patrick, I've listened when we came, I missed some sessions, Maureen presented, I've observed Maureen like 2 times, 3 times already. So many of you, when you present, I begin to question whether it looks like we've achieved our target in terms of knowledge transfer. We see actors that have a mastery of the knowledge we are struggling to let this be used in the different spaces. And again, when I was talking yesterday, it was about identifying members, actors that can, exactly what you were talking about, Apollo, in the advocacy journey. How do you approach that? And I can see that you really have this within you. And sometimes even when we're discussing, we're reflecting, should we bring one of them to Ethiopia for some of the trainings that we want to do? How can we really do this? And that is exactly how, when you talk of the change that comes from capacity building is a process. But now, the change that comes from transferring knowledge is being able to apply that knowledge in the work that we are doing. And this is what we are measuring, avoiding to measure the process, but measure the change. For Uganda, for South Sudan, for Kenya, for Ethiopia, in fact, is really flowing. And what we are looking for, we still have a challenge as an organization for the other countries. Eritrea is still difficult for us to penetrate. Djibouti, we have planned, but we are still to enter. We have the terms of reference ready, but we are not yet entering there. But we have already a network of partners that we've invited to other spaces. Somalia, we're still planning to go there, though we have a country peace building program there, but we still have to go there with such an initiative. This is to say that we're looking where everywhere we've passed, the knowledge has made an impact. And I'm thinking that we need to be deliberate in terms of how do we bring them together by the end of the program cycle so that they can be able to come together in one space and share and learn and take back. So this is something that we feel fulfilled, that we've really met some level of success. Now you are the masters and, how do you say the feminine of masters, miss? So, masters and the men are the masters. And the ladies. But let me say you are the experts in your context. Okay? You are the experts in your context, and the knowledge gained here is really going to be used first in Uganda. And resilient process of free, fair, inclusive, as we observe, electoral process, peaceful electoral process is what we're looking for. We want peace in Uganda. And we feel that with what you have gotten, with some of the strategies we've shared here from yesterday, in terms of getting into wider networks, you should be able to do a great work. I don't know, your electoral board, you need to have a relationship with them. Because in other countries, they determine who can be part of the process. And I think civil society, you should be able to create a platform that you can convince them to say, we want to be part of this process. Not because we want to monitor and see whether you are doing the wrong thing, but because we want to support the process. When you talk about preventing violence, it's about engaging the communities to see the need to be peaceful during this process. And again, Apollo, you are a Quaker, and the organization is a Quaker organization. And many other organizations have common values of non-violence. Can you be able to see how, with these advocacy skills that you have, approach them to let them see that you have something you can contribute as a network? So for me, that would be something that we wish to see. And we want to see Uganda remain very stable, because it's a fever that comes every time in every context. So we want to see where communities engage, just like you were showing the president voting and the others lining up, they were very peaceful. In my country, sometimes when they are voting, you find the machine, the guns are there waiting, as if something was going to happen. But I didn't see that in that picture that you were projecting. So for us, we think that we've really gone far, and let us know what humble way we can support. As I said, we don't need to be here before you come together. We wish that you continue to come together and bring in many more. The coalition we're talking here is another network you can try to understand how they work, get into interaction with them, and seeing how this can happen. I discovered that there were 2 new or 3 new other organizations that joined this network from yesterday. So it's not a closed door, but it's something that we want to see how it grows. But growing not for formality, but for action-driven purpose that will want to influence positively some of the national processes. If you feel that some of the organizations are not active, we encourage you. It becomes a kind of problem that you need to dig into. We eliminated one organization from here because it was recommended right from Philadelphia that we should engage with that organization. It was a women-led organization. And we made efforts to call and came here and even went through trying to get them. But at one point the lady told us, you know what? We closed because of funding. We didn't have any money. And as such, we couldn't continue. So we said, okay, we cannot pretend. We want to have actors that are active, not actors that seem to be. So if you find out, dig further, it becomes a substantive problem where you have to dig to understand why are they not coming. There are many other organizations that want to come. Let them come and communicate with our office to see that you can do the analysis together, and we do verification of the organizations and then see how we can put them to be part of this. So for us, that's something that we want to encourage. When you gain knowledge, apart from the change that comes from you using the knowledge, you need some evidence. The evidence I'm saying here is not the research we were talking yesterday, which we talked about. But you need evidence in terms of, do you have documentation to show that you've actually gained this knowledge? Because also, before some of us go to school, you have some skills, and then they're asking you, okay, you can do this, you can teach, if you're a teacher, you can do this, but do you have a certificate that shows that you went to this school? Did you do the master's in conflict studies? So I want to encourage that. Giving them certificates, training certificates, is normal. And when we are doing the planning for a workshop, when you finish with the terms of reference and doing the budgeting, also verify what does it take to have the certificate. So that you put that cost, you print them, and even if we're not coming, you put it and we all sign that certificate. It can always be signed for, so long as we approve of that. Okay? So it should be part of the budgeting, and we see how we can use this. Let our partners be able to use it to show that they have actually gone through this. Because when you meet the authorities and you are telling them that you have skills in this, they say, but how do we know that you got this training? So it's something that we shouldn't relent. And we will also be looking, Jackie is always coming back to Addis from time to time. If you feel that we still have to keep it to this group, I think we can still catch up. Do the certificates and then send to us. Robert can design it, and then we find a way of printing and starting the signing from there and sending it to find someone coming here if we're not coming yet. So it's something we want to encourage, because me speaking, I've also had several training certificates that show some of the skill sets that I have, which I've been able to use, and every time they will ask for it. So I want to encourage that. This, we're taking back very good message that Uganda is thriving in terms of knowledge transfer, and that we're confident that you can be able to engage with your authorities from the local level right to the national level. And also you are crossing from national. Some of you will be crossing. As I said, it's not something that we favor, but we want to see how can Uganda be represented. And where possible, we will bring in, as the number permits, most of you to the different spaces. So let's see how this works, and let's see how we can continue to be ambassadors of change towards the larger communities of CSOs in Uganda. But don't fight your governments, okay? Don't fight your governments. Your organizations were created for a purpose. Always ask yourself, what is your purpose? What is your mandate? Are you a political party, or are you a civil society? As a civil society, you have a mandate to contribute to the national priorities. Never you forget. And you must be registered. I don't know whether it was in the hall here where we talked about an organization not registered or being registered. We need to be registered, meaning that legally existing and recognized by the government. Because American Friends Service Committee will not come here and work with organizations that have just been established by an individual and is not recognized by the state. We are not partisan to the government, but we work to align our priorities to those of the government. Okay? Because that is the first accountability. In Ethiopia, we will not even work if we don't have a registration. So I want to encourage that we verify these organizations, and we also try not to be antagonistic to the government, but you find quiet ways, the quiet diplomacy, which you should really be talking about on how you can engage with the authorities. If you want to bring change in something that the government is hard on, you don't need to come on the radio or on the media or stand on the street and say the government is bad, but find ways of influencing in a way that it can help transform what is not right in a peaceful manner.
All for peace.